right, we are live and in the flesh. Yeah, so are you excited? I'm pretty excited to be talking about random rolls and all of these things.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it's a little outside my element, but we'll make it work.
Well, random rolls and I don't know, just weapons in general, because I know that you and I have had multiple conversations of, hey, Lancer, I know, Lancer, is this a good hand cannon? Are these good rolls? I need more vault space. Please help me. So
Yeah, we did that Saber Shard session at one point, and that was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw myself over to voice activation, just to FYI, because apparently, otherwise you're not going to capture my reactions with this push to talk. Sorry, guys.
All right, are you back?
There we go.
Okay.
Yes, I think we're back. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, the raid hand cannon. So we are not going to be discussing anything regarding to any weapons that are not actually out yet. I think it's only fair because I know there are people who are...
Oh, no, he's totally talking about Midnight Coup. I don't know. Maybe you should wait on it a little bit. I'm not sure if it's going to be meta. I don't know.
Well, but here's the thing.
No, Midnight Coup is still amazing. Keep using it.
Yeah, but also, even if you did decide you wanted to get rid of it, look, we have our hand cannons, right? Midnight Coup.
Mm-hmm.
You could pick it back up with Outlaw and Rampage, unless you got, like, a random roll. So...
Are they even dropping random rolls of year one stuff? I don't think they are. At least not yet. Which is I have my own rant about that, but that can wait for another time.
Yeah, I mean, it just... I think it's, if you're looking to get space, if you're not too concerned, just go ahead and shard everything. Like me, just get rid of it all, and then be like, oh shit, maybe I actually should probably be trying.
Right, and I'm very much of that opinion right now that most of the year one stuff, unless except for certain weapons, which you probably really like at this point anyway, pretty much all the armor, with exception of the raid armor because of the perks on it.
Right.
Sorry, not the perks, the mods on it. Excuse me. Pretty much all the year one armor you really should be sharding at this point, outside of exotics and raid armor, because it's...
You pick it back up.
And it really pains me to say it, because A, you can pick it back up. B, it doesn't have armor perks, and that's the important bit right now for armor that's dropping. The mods that are in them don't work. So you're pretty much at a straight disadvantage to be using a year one purple armor as opposed to a year two, like a Forsaken watermark purple armor, if that makes any sense.
Exactly.
And it really pains, and like I said, it really pains me to say that, because I was one of those guys who generated a lot of masterwork cores and invested heavily in my armor and got all the perfect setups that I wanted for every possible loadout that I was running in PvP, and I got really into it, and I liked it, and it's not that I liked the system, but I made the system work, and now most of those pieces are just useless. And it kind of annoys me, but yeah, anyway.
All those masterwork cores you could have been saving, you ended up using.
God, yeah, and no way to recoup them. That's just how it is.
Though, you do get some. Though, yeah, it's a bad return on investment. So,
yeah.
Let's see, how many masterwork cores do I even have right now? 174.
Oh, man, what am I at? Yeah, because I keep spending everything that I get, because I don't really have a choice at this point. I've got 3 banked at the moment, and really those are probably going to go towards progressing the masterwork of something.
Jeez, I can't even imagine what I would use them for. Yeah. So what's the plan for tonight? Inventory management? It's, yeah, kind of, I guess. And Lois, she's freaking out. And, yeah, inventory management and what things to be looking for. We have a spreadsheet that we were going to be referencing. Hi, Lois. Yes, I know, Moo. Jesus. Anytime I start talking, FYI, Lancer, she starts barking. Yeah, you could.
I'm helping. Woof.
Yeah, Argo. Yes, you can purchase them from the Spider, except for that if you read the little thing, it says that everything you buy on a day, for Masterwork Core specifically, it will double in price. So maybe you do one a day, and in a year you'll have 365.
Yeah, because if you're buying, what is it, per day per account or per day per character?
I believe.
Or don't we know?
I haven't tested the theory out because I honestly didn't think that it was a good investment.
So the counter I'm going to pose to that is that the initial rate that the Spider is charging is not that bad for Masterwork cores. I think he starts by charging 10 legendary shards for one, and then 20 legendary shards for one, and then 40 for one. That's, if you just do 2 Masterwork cores a day, if we assume it's per account, that's 30 shards that you're probably going to make back from sharding blue and purple drops anyway. So those first 2 aren't that bad, but once you start climbing past that, it gets pricey.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess it
And
really
yeah, I've been taking
depends.
full advantage of that, but it's there was one day where I spent like up to the 160 mark, so that's what 200 something. Yeah, anyway, it was something like 300 shards for cores because I desperately needed to get some armor up, and yeah, that was pretty bad.
Desperate for what, though?
Just trying to get some armor up so I could actually do stuff in the Dreaming City. But yeah, I had the shards to do it, but it still wasn't pleasant.
Oh, well, I honestly, I think that today's offerings are pretty good. 1 legendary shard will give you 5,000 glimmer, and then 5,000 glimmer you can buy other things. So, not too bad.
Yeah, granted.
Granted, exactly. All right, so okay, so let's first, I guess we can start off. Do we want to just start? I came to the tower because of course, there's the vault here. And so I figured, but most of the stuff I have is year 1, so I guess it really doesn't matter. Do you want me to, it's a nice money dump, exactly.
Absolutely. We needed currency sinks in Destiny pretty badly for most of the, especially the stuff that's been added in, because I know some people were just sitting on piles of Masterwork cores, not really doing anything with them, legendary shards, tokens, etc. So Bungie needed to introduce a way to spend some of that currency out of the system, and it appears to be working, but obviously we're still only, a week and a half since launch, so we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and I think the thing about the currency sync is that there isn't anything that we can just default to be like, you know what, I'm at 100,000 glimmer right now, I'm just gonna go buy. There's you have to go all the way to the Spider to buy whatever you want with your glimmer. But I kind of, not gonna lie, I kind of miss just being able to really easily do everything at the tower all at once.
Yeah, I get that.
So, all right, do you want to start, or do you want to start with the inventory and then go from there?
I mean, we can start with your inventory. We can run this however you want to run it. The main message that I'm going to be trying to give as far as what do you keep or what do you get rid of is identifying what play style or what end goal you're looking to do. Are you just looking to do end game content? Is there a particular set of weapons you are expecting to use, or a specific exotic that you want to build around? And then going for drops that specifically have perks that suit that playstyle. Same thing with weapons. You're going for good combinations of perks, and if you can't get those good combinations of perks, then if nothing else, you're going to be going for let's call them tier 1 or tier 1.5 perks put together.
Right. Exactly. All right, so where can people can find this spreadsheet that we're going to be starting to discuss? ! Sheet in chat will get you the link. If I understand it correctly, it is not ours, but we are referencing somebody else's, correct?
Yes, it is the Destiny Massive Breakdowns podcast. Full disclosure, I give money to them on Patreon. And I've filled in some of the perks for their year 1 spreadsheet that got adopted towards the end of year 1 into their main branch. So that's a fantastic program. Kit Kucha and Mercules do a fantastic job with pretty much everything they touch. I'm obviously a fan. But anyway, their website is destinymassivebreakdowns.com. They have a weapons stats spreadsheet there. That is what this spreadsheet is. They just, I believe Mercules just updated it for Destiny 2 Forsaken. So if you were to type, I think he said it's !sheet in chat. Yeah, so that'll give you the link to the spreadsheet. The main, if you care about PvP stuff, Your main resource is going to be that archetype TTK comparison tool calculator sort of thing that they have in there. That shows you all of the weapon archetypes broken down by their optimal time to kills. So if you land all precision shots, and their body shot time to kills if you land all body shots. And I believe most of the exotics are in there as well. Redrix is in there, that kind of thing.
Yep. So the archetype TTK comparison tool, which is the first one.
Yes. So if PvP is your thing, this is your bread and butter. This is a fantastic resource. The rest of it, if you're going through the other pages, everything that, if I understand this correctly, everything that has a white name is a weapon that has been in the game up to Forsaken, so year 1 stuff. Anything that is light blue or dark blue in the case of exotics in name is new in Destiny Forsaken.
So, why can't...
Oh, you would be looking at a new, because you're looking in the HTML view there. So if you click auto rifles, there you go.
Okay, there we go.
Yep. So anything that's light blue is a new weapon in Forsaken.
Purple.
Yes. Yeah. There are no blues or greens or grays. I don't know if there even are new grays in this set. Anyway, this is just purples and exotics.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, so let's take a look. I got some stuff here. I've come to let's see. I've come to Banshee. Good old Banshee, right?
Good old Banshee.
Good old Banshee.
Actually, you're at the postmaster, but either way.
Oh yeah, it is the postmaster. Wow, I'm a moron. It's fine. It's cool. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, guys. And I have 2 bows that I've gotten by doing random events and whatnot. Whoa. And they are both subtle calamities. Okay. So one of them has, well, here, just by overview look, it quick draw, archer's tempo, the other one rampage and sneak bow. Or do we not know about bows yet?
Sneak bow. Sorry, mute issues. Gotta confess, I'm a little bit new on the bow perks.
Then we'll
so
go...
I'm just, yeah, so actually what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna log into Game Quick and I will inspect you, and we'll do it that way, because
that way
sorry
you can
about
actually
that.
See.
Yeah, sorry, that is something that I had not fully prepared for. I keep forgetting that bows are a thing.
Yeah, well, no, and this is why this is the pilot, so that we can kind of iron out any details that we want to figure out and whatnot. It's just having fun.
But yes, Rampage. Rudy just beat me to the punch in chat there. Rampage is always a good perk. It is. I can think of no downsides to that perk. It's so you've got a good one there. What is the other one that rolled on there?
Sneak.
The other set perk. Sneak bow.
Increase
that's the one that
reload speed.
Is that the one that lets you hold the charge time longer, or is that just reload speed?
It says increased hold time and reload speed while crouched.
Okay, that's probably pretty good. If you're thinking through that playstyle a bit, if you're gonna be PvPing a bunch and trying to hold lanes, sneak bow probably makes a bunch of sense because you're kind of treating it as a pocket sniper anyway. So that longer hold time is going to help you quite a bit. Rampage, like I said, tier 1 perk, always worth keeping. I probably shouldn't say always worth keeping. If it pairs with a really bad perk, okay, maybe you just want to shard that weapon. But Rampage in and of itself is very nice.
Rampage, I agree. I have Bygones and I've got Rampage, and it went killing trash mobs, not in Gambit because it doesn't work on the trash mobs in Gambit as much as it does. But you just kill things, and it's pretty awesome. I like.
There we go. Okay, so I'm in game now, so I can actually inspect you.
Yay!
What was that other subtle calamity drop that you got?
All right, it's on. It's combat bow. Yeah, it is a combat bow. It has quick draw and archer's tempo. So draw time decreases after each precision hit, which to me this is like meh. I mean, compared to listening to the other one, it sounds like well, at least for me, I can't hit things to save my life.
So from a DPS perspective, that's kind of nice. You're going to be going for precision hits anyway with a bow.
That's true.
So being able to just fire more arrows more quickly is definitely a good thing from a PvE perspective for DPS. I'm not sure I would go for that in PvP. I love quick draw personally. I because I tend to rotate between a couple of different weapons a lot in PvP. I like having less downtime when I'm moving between the two, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
But for PvE where you're a little less likely to be taken by surprise at any point, it's I don't
Not
want to
as
call it a dead
necessary.
perk, but exactly, it's not as necessary.
Right.
If this rolled with that draw perk and a damage perk, I don't know if Kill Clip can even roll on a bow, but let's say so, right? The like if Kill Clip Rampage or some other perk that gives you some kind of damaging benefit, maybe even Dragonfly, because again, you're going for precision hits.
Right.
Were to roll on this bow, I think that would be fantastic. But this pairing in itself, the draw thing is nice. You're going for precision hits anyway, but quick draw doesn't really do much for you.
Right. Very awesome. Okay. So, what would you say is probably your favorite what is the one weapon that you think, regardless of crud perks, is probably the best to have right now that's been dropping?
As in, so best to have, as in you're looking to do end game content that's coming up.
Yeah, end game content. Like when
and you just want like a daily driver, do anything kind of weapon.
Yeah, like you remember, I don't know if you played D2 back on like on console, but back when D2 first dropped, it seemed like we had Better Devils and Uriels was like the meta for that is what you ran if you were doing pretty much anything.
I do remember getting wrecked by Urinal's Gift in the first week of PC launch. Yes.
So what is your opinion on the current the what do you see as being the new up and coming meta for just everyday kind of like to have it go to maybe do some gambit patrol, I don't know, patrols, not gambit, but maybe do patrols, some public events, hanging out with friends, whatever.
From a PvE perspective, and I should preface this all by saying that it's a new expansion. I'm still learning. A bunch of people are still learning. A lot of this could potentially be very wrong within a matter of days. I don't think the PvE meta is going to change all that much from a weapons perspective. So it's definitely going to change from a supers perspective. I think a lot of what's good and has been good up to this point is going to continue to be good. So, Cold Heart, Sleeper, 720 RPM autos, adaptive and lightweight hand cannons. Precision hand cannons might see some more use because Trust is kind of nasty. And Malfeasance exists. I don't know how many people have gotten that to drop yet, or if it's gated or what. But we might see. There are a couple of categories that I think might step up and see a bunch more use. And also we have the slot reworks to contend with, right? So now shotgun sniper rifles, fusion rifles, single shot grenade launchers are all much, and we'd had almost no time to adapt to that change in the meta. And now we have all these other weapons and the new supers thrown in on top of that. So that's why I preface this by saying I could just be wrong on anything. However, like I said, most of the stuff that has been good up to this point, I think will continue to be good. Misfit, I know, is a 720 RPM auto in the energy slot. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards that for general PvE use.
And what's it called?
Misfit.
Okay. I have that. What are my random rolls for this? Then hold on. Let's get back to it. Misfit. All right, there we go. I've got
that bottom one.
Frame. Snapshot and moving target. It's okay. I mean, it's been okay.
Okay, so one thing that another thing I should say in how you look at these weapons, the perks generally break down into 3 types. You have sights. So in this weapon, on the farthest left, you have the weapons archetype. That's fixed. You can't change it. You then have a choice of 2 sights on this weapon. by and large, sights don't matter. They just adjust the
It's
like the
personal
range.
preference.
Yeah, it's personal preference, but it does impact the range and handling. So use both what's comfortable and what you're effective with. Um,
Right.
the Obviously you can do some crazy things if you have a sight that bumps the range stat. Like I know, I think a rival shout out in core has been messing with Go Figure, which is a 4-shot burst pulse rifle. And he got a roll where he has just maximized the range on that to the point where he can compete with scout rifles in the Crucible.
Whoa.
So that obviously there are cases where maybe you want to take that handling hit to get more range, but by and large you want to use both what's comfortable and effective.
It's what is it called?
You
Go
Go
figure?
figure.
Okay, and
Yes.
I have dusk dot.
Oh, that's not a bad roll. But anyway, on the matter of, I got a little bit sidetracked there. Perk types. You may also see on some weapons barrel perks where the sights are on that weapon. So I think good examples of this are the Viced seven. No, not seven. The Viced auto rifle. Man, I'm tripping all over myself. I'm sorry. The Viced scout rifles, the rapid fire ones, like Black Scorpion, Frostmire's Hex, etc. Those don't have sight perks; they have barrel perks. So stuff like extended barrel, full bore, small bore, chambered compensator, things of that nature.
Okay, so what's one that I could pull up in my
Da, da, da. Infinite Paths should have them. Infinite Paths, bottom center.
Okay, so details. Okay, so we have the barrels.
Yeah, so you'll have, like you see, you've got barrel perks. They impact the stats a bit, but they don't change the sight in any way.
Gotcha.
You've then got magazine perks. Magazine perks are either a magazine or ammunition. So you can see in this case with Infinite Paths, even though Infinite Paths is a fixed roll, it has alloy mag, accurized rounds, or drop mag. So you have this set of magazine perks that can roll, and so if you have this magazine column, it'll always choose a random rolled weapon will always choose perks from that category. It'll be random within that category, but you get the idea.
Yeah,
and then
did we remember? Did we know? Is there any information out there that has all of these perks options that could potentially be? I know we talked about it earlier. I can't remember. Did we?
That I do not know.
Okay.
I have not found where they are in the Destiny Tracker database yet. I don't know if there's a website yet that has cataloged them. If somebody knows of one, please drop it in chat. I need it
But
badly.
let me know first, so I can permit you to drop the link, so that so that the bot won't yell at you.
Yes, thank you. But yes, if somebody has a list of all known perks and like how they will drop, please let me know. I just haven't found that yet, and I kind of need that for some theory crafting. I know there are going to be tier lists that good communities out there, like Reddit's Crucible Playbook, will create at some point. I just don't know if anybody's gotten around to putting these perk tier lists out yet. So once they're out, I'll work off of them and see if I can come up with a comprehensive list. But until then, I'm kind of operating semi in the dark. And then you have your set perks over on the far right-hand side of the weapon. So stuff like Rampage, Rapid Hit, Dragonfly, Kill Clip. Yeah, so these are set perks. And on most weapons, they are just going to roll, by the look of Forsaken so far, most weapons are going to roll 2 set perks that you cannot change, or at least that you cannot change that we know of. I know there have been exceptions to this in the past, like the Ikelos hand cannon from Warmind, that even though, again, that's a fixed roll, but it has this, I believe, a set battery of perks that are all either fixed or semi-fixed, and then the rightmost perk, I think, was a choice between Threat Detector and Rampage, if I'm remembering correctly.
Was this for a random? Was this random roll, or was this an actual?
This was set roll out of Warmind. It was part of that. I believe it was part of the Sleeper quest. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, right. And what was it called again? The Ikelos hand cannon.
Yes.
Yep, it had a. Okay.
Ikelos HC. Yeah, that one.
This one, yeah. Moving target. Nope, I have a Rampage and killed.
Yeah,
Victor.
okay, so Seraph Rounds is fixed, and then it's Rampage or Threat Detector. So set perks, there is precedent for a choice of a set perk, but it appears so far in Forsaken that set perks are set.
Exactly. All right, so
like, yeah, just to give that those definitions all up front, if you hear me call something a magazine perk or a set perk, that's what I mean.
all right, that's good information to know, because I know that I've definitely heard, and I'm finally like, oh, that's what this is. It's adaptive frame.
Yes, that's the
now.
weapon archetype.
The archetype.
Yeah, so
I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. If it called again archetype, it's that determines certain intrinsic properties of the weapon. Some archetypes have fixed perks. I'm sorry, not fixed perks, inherent perks to them. So and this, I believe this was confirmed via a Crucible Radio podcast interview with a couple of developers. That, for example, high impact archetype weapons have an inherent hidden air quotes high caliber rounds effect on them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's adaptives that are just kind of do everything. They don't really have an intrinsic perk. Precisions generally have easier to control recoil. Lightweights have a flat plus 10% move speed buff to your character.
And where's all this information found?
If you hover over the archetype, so like you're hovering over adaptive frame leftmost in the perks on Bygones, it'll just give you a little blurb description of the archetype. Some of this stuff, like I said, is hidden air quotes. But if you were to hover over like a lightweight weapon, it'll say something like, hey, having this lets you move equipping this lets you move faster, or gives you a 10% move speed buff, or something like that.
Lightweight. Okay, there we go. Move faster with this weapon equipped. Ha-ha.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So they're, again, hidden air quotes, but not exactly all that well hidden. I think rapid fires, for example, like Lincoln Green, my favorite Lincoln Green. Rapid fire pulse rifle. The rapid fire thing for pulse rifle says like it reloads faster when empty.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, that would definitely make sense. So let's see. Which of the, I know with this whole getting new, what formerly either pretty much heavy things that are now in either the secondary or primary slot, I think is, I guess what they're, are they going back to those names now? It's now
so primary. Yeah, so the ammunition is primary, special, or heavy. I believe they still refer to the slot. Okay, so I believe the slots are still kinetic, energy, and special. And I believe that's how Bungie is continuing to refer to them. But the weapon, the ammunition that is taken by any particular weapon has changed.
Right.
So something in the kinetic or the energy slot, the first or second slot, will take either primary white ammo or special green ammo. So like your stuff that used to be a heavy, like your fusion rifles, your sniper rifles, your shotguns, now take green special ammo.
Special ammo, and it's back to the D1 days.
Yep. And then your power weapon slot always takes heavy.
Always takes
heavy. Or at least that we have seen so far, it always takes heavy.
Ooh, here's a good one. So play of the game, good old play of the game.
Oh yeah.
We got
another weapon that has wrecked my face regularly.
I got three choices. Okay.
Okay.
I've just equipped the first one. It's an adaptive frame with snapshot and Genesis as the set perks. Confined launch, counter mass, smart drift control, and then alloy casing, high velocity rounds. Is this something that is worth keeping?
Yeah, so I'm just reading the description of Genesis now. I'm not big on snapshot on grenade launchers. Usually you can hip fire them well enough. That's not to say it's useless, but again, in my experience, especially with play of the game, if you have... Oh, wait, you don't have proximity grenades on that, do you?
No, I guess not.
Okay, yeah, so...
these are I have 3 random roll ones that... So I have another really good one.
Yeah,
I mean, supposedly good
honestly,
one.
Honestly, I'm not that much a fan of play the game if it doesn't have proximity grenades. Like, sticky grenades are still useful in Crucible, but proximities were just tier 1 for that, flat out.
Proximity detonators.
Yeah, so if you're playing PvE, you can still make this roll work. The one I'm looking at that you've got up on the screen now. I'm a big fan of auto-loading holster in general because you can, if you've got ammo in reserves, you can just unload it and go, okay, this is going to go away now, and I'm going to continue to DPS with something else, and you just let autoloader do its job. I was kind of a fan of Daedalus Code, the lightweight hand cannon from Vanilla, because in Crucible, because I had that 10% move speed buff off a lightweight.
I don't even remember that gun.
Yeah, it was a Vanguard drop, and I had that 10% move speed buff off a lightweight. And then it had auto-loading holster on it. So if I knew that I was chasing or crashing a guy who was out of shields, I could just switch over quick to Daedalus Code, like try to 1 or 2 tap him in the head, and then just put Daedalus Code away, go back to my other weapon, usually a pulse rifle, and let autoloader take care of reloading it for me.
Right. I know. Yeah, I know. You're always you and your finisher weapons.
Yes.
All right. So very, very interesting and good stuff. Let's go back to. So.
Sorry for the typing noise. My bad.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, feel free to interact with chat as much as you want. Just having a beer. I know, right? It's. So the other one. So is this one that has this is the only one that has like 4 sets of perks.
Yeah. So thermoplastics I'm not big on. I haven't played with them much. I mean, yay, additional bouncy stuff, but
I don't like
unless
bouncing.
Yeah, unless you are literally the progeny of Euclid himself, and and geometry just makes sense for you in a way that it doesn't for like us mere mortals.
So if you're an engineer.
Yeah, if you like the challenge of bouncing grenades off of stuff, go for it. Have fun. I don't think that hard when I'm using a grenade launcher. I can try to do some crispy plays with the single shot lightweight grenades and bouncing those, but the sticky grenades I kind of prefer. They're much more simpler to use. It's direct fire. I don't have to worry about bouncing. They can stick and be a trap if I need them to. That's kind of nice. The other ones that I would look for are proximity grenades because, oh my god, those are tier 1. They do what they say on the tin. They explode when they get near something. Great in PvP, great in PvE, never bad. Use them.
Well, sticky grenades does that as well. It says it detonates when enemies are in proximity.
Yes, I don't know if they do that while they're in the air, though. That's the thing. If somebody knows, please correct me in chat. So, like, once they land on the ground, I believe they go into that. They will detonate in proximity to something state, but I don't believe they do so while they're in midair. Sticky grenades are what I would go for if I can't get proximity grenades. I would also give an honorable mention to spike grenades, because if I recall correctly, those do bonus damage if you direct hit something with them. So if you're going to be if you're going to be rocking a drum-fed grenade launcher in your heavy slot for PvE for boss DPS, spike grenades is a fantastic way to go.
I don't think any of these I have spike grenades. So it seems like these other two play the games. Oh well, this one has one. But this one,
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. I never actually looked at what Genesis does. Let me do that right now.
Breaking a combatant's shield with this weapon fills its magazine from reserves. Energy weapons regenerate ammo on hit when matching the damage type to the combatant's shield.
You know, as a shield melter, that's not bad. Again, use case, if you're using a drum grenade launcher specifically for this in PvE, like let's say you get a roll of play of the game with first perk doesn't matter. You're probably just going for either velocity or blast preference, whatever your preference is. Spike grenades, Genesis, get an element that you don't mind on there and use that to just pop big bads in the face and pop their shields. Yeah, could be pretty nice. Autoloader, not bad here. I don't think you necessarily need it. Again, Rampage is tier 1. But I would keep this, even with just sticky grenades on here. I don't mind. I'm kind of a fan of autoloader, and Genesis doesn't seem bad. I would at least keep this until you find something you like better. It's certainly not a bad roll.
So
but
the one with
probably
the snapshot sights is probably the one that is
but firmly
the
tier
least,
2.
The
Yeah,
least
I
good.
yeah, I don't see a reason
Nope.
for snapshot sights on a grenade launcher.
Bye-bye.
You can hip fire them well enough. Just shard it.
Sweet. Okay. Threat detector, quit draw. Ooh, this one seems pretty decent. Edge. Oh, I should probably equip it so you can see. There's an edge transit. Has also thermoplastic grenades or augmented drum.
To Yuliel's point in chat, the part of the issue here is it sounds like you have to match the shield type with Genesis, which takes some of the utility away from it. But if you now that we have 500 vault slots, right, and you're probably sharding a lot of your year 1 armor, if you keep a couple of these around of differing elements for, just if you're going into a certain content type or most of the big bads, like let's say you're playing Savathun's Song and all the knights in there have arc shields and you've got an arc grenade launcher with Genesis on it, yeah, just pull it out of the golf bag, go play it.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, otherwise you're probably not getting the most out of it if you're not matching that shield element.
I should probably go check and see if they have any, because I haven't seen any elemental mods at all.
So who won?
I don't even know that they exist. Impact. Oh, radar tuner. Not too bad.
Yeah, radar tuner is probably not that great in PvE, but in PvP it is. Yeah, I threw one of those on my I forget what the name of it is off the top of my head, but my energy pulse rifle, and that's been useful enough for me. Excuse me.
No worries, no worries. All right, so essentially, kill clip, rampage, and we like spike grenades if we can find them. And it's pretty safe to say that just get rid of everything, because everything that's year 1 that isn't a random roll. Because why
I wouldn't get rid
it?
of get rid of everything. I would still say to be judicious. Like, don't get rid of everything just because it's year 1. Get rid of the year 1 stuff that you're not going to use.
But
that you can get back from collections.
Yeah, because I was gonna say. I mean, I have. Let's see. I have Ghost Primus right now. It's a 380. I could get rid of it, get the Masterwork cores, and rebuy it.
Sure,
at like 490 or something like that.
Yeah, if you're strapped for cores, that has potential.
Well, not even a strap for cores, just a strat in general, because I think it was my Prometheus maybe it was the Prometheus lens or something else, or the Cold Heart. I think I was using a 380 Cold Heart, and I was like, wait a sec, I could just rebuy this. Or even it was my Orpheus rigs. Instead of infusing up, if it's a year 1 item, just get rid of it and rebuy it at a higher light level.
Fair point. If you can just if you can get it out of collections at 500, then infusing doesn't make infusing doesn't make a lot of sense. I would still say to have in your inventory some of the on meta PvE stuff just for the sake of it. So cluster bomb, like I said earlier, cluster bomb rockets, 720 autos, Cold Heart.
Right.
What else?
Which
I miss? But you get the idea.
Yeah. Midnight Coup. If you don't
yes. Midnight Coup is still very, very good. You still have 2 set perks. So even though
I don't like it though. I don't like Midnight Coup, man. I tried it. It was good for a while, and then I realized, I think it was after discussing with either you or GTS or somebody else.
I don't know if
you don't hit crits, it's not as good as Better Devils, because Better Devils is going to give you the higher damage if you are going to.
Now, there's 2 ways of looking at that. So I believe somebody did the math. I think they were from Reddit. Sorry, but more or less. I believe somebody did the math at some point. I think they're on Reddit and did the breakdown that, look, if you are hitting, I think the magic number was 70% of your shots as crits with a hand cannon, then 70% of your more of your shots with a hand cannon are landing as a crit. Lightweights are better for DPS. But if you're landing anything less than that 70% figure, adaptives like DFA, Better Devils are better for you.
Yeah, which is what I do, and I get it. I got to get
yeah,
better.
So now Now the thing is, and this is where the whole there's a couple ways to look at this goes. If you are trying to establish that base muscle memory and accuracy in general, but still be rewarded or not feeling like a drain on your team or something, adaptive hand cannons are fine. You're gonna be fine. It's okay. If you want to improve, though, you probably should take out a lightweight hand cannon
And force yourself to get better.
or even keep using that adaptive hand cannon and purposefully force yourself to go for crits, because that's how you're going to get that muscle memory down on different enemy types in different situations to be able to hit those headshots more consistently. And once you feel like you're either at or approaching that threshold, you can go, okay, now it's time for me to make that pivot into this other archetype that's going to reward me more for my accuracy.
This is true. Very true. So what do you, Lancer, you're going to go do patrols, or you're going to do any kind of random.
Sure.
What do you run? Or here, you know what? I'm going to actually, why don't we, I'm going to, I think swap over to our screen share if you want to. And,
yeah,
let
sure.
you drive a bit.
I can start that. Hang on.
Okay. If you guys will hold on for a sec, we're going to do a little bit of swapping around. Okay. Let's see. All right, now I can do this. Hold on. Window capture. Oh, wait. Oh, is it working? Sorry, guys. This is the first time we've done a lot of this stuff. Hold on.
Bear in mind, most of my stuff is I'm still in the leveling process. I've managed to get a bunch of purple gear that I quite like, but I'm still kind of figuring this out as I go. So right now, I've been running 2 primaries, so
Boy,
10
hold on.
paces.
I've got a, man.
Oh, you're changing the screen magnification?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay.
We got some. There we go. Oh, ta-da! There we go. We got.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, so I've kind of been jumping back and forth between a couple of things. I usually run 2 primaries, so 10 paces. It's an adaptive hand cannon. This one I kept the roll mostly because it is it's good for me in Crucible. I like opening shot a lot in Crucible. I don't think it's that great in PvE unless you're trying to do long range stuff with a hand cannon, in which case I have to ask you why. But that's neither here nor there. I like drop mag a lot for reasons that we can get into if you want. Triple tap I think is fantastic on hand cannons in PvE. Just to be able to keep DPSing longer. One of my favorite things to do in year 1 was I got Dire Promise, which was a dead orbit. In fact, let me see if I still have it in my inventory. I do not. Oh well.
You can look at it if you're talking year 1 stuff. You can go over to your collections. That's what I was doing.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that we have.
I know,
this
it's
in the game
amazing.
now,
That's what I was doing when you were talking about anything year 1. I was like, I just go over, look at it, pull it up. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, I just feel like I should really just go through and delete every single solitary year 1 item that I have, because you know what? That's another thing you can sink your resources into, getting anything you want back.
Yeah. So so one thing I really liked doing in year 1 was I got Dire Promise to drop from Dead Orbit. So I started running it with appended mag. I think that increases the mag size to 13. And then I masterworked it for magazine, which gave me 14 in the mag. And then I was going for triple taps just all the time. And because I'm hitting those precision shots anyway, I'm getting shots back into the magazine. I'm continuing to do DPS for far longer than I would be with just 11 or 13 or 14 shots in the magazine.
Right.
I felt like that I was getting far more mileage out of DPS wise out of this than I would be out of anything else. And so I know a lot of people, this is the same archetype as and same slot in the kinetic slot as Midnight Coup. I liked Dire Promise a lot better because I felt like I didn't have as much DPS downtime, if that makes sense, especially pairing it with Hunter dodges or Titan barricades. However, in Midnight Defense's Midnight Defense. Wow. Midnight Coup's defense. It outlaw. You're going for precision hits anyway. You're gonna be reloading practically instantly anyway. It's apples and apples, but which apple you like better? I don't know which one necessarily wins the DPS race in that scenario. I think Midnight Coup still does because Outlaw is that good, but it's so you get the idea. This was just what I really liked running. So I was very happy when I got 10 paces to drop with triple tap, and then drop mag just completely alleviated my lack of Outlaw. The reason why I like drop mag so much is my background in first person shooters covers a lot of ground, and I spent a fair little bit of time playing the OG like Battlefield 2, Battlefield 2142, where if you reload, you just lose the ammunition in that magazine. So I was used to that already, and also playing Arma, it was the same thing. So I was used to the mechanic of how drop mag works anyway. I had kind of broken myself of the habit of compulsively reloading ages ago. Now,
I know.
Now
I've been trying so hard with the Truth, because Truth has, I believe, that drop mag as well. And you and I had that discussion when I obviously, like I said, always tend to ask you about everything. And you said, gotta break yourself of that habit because drop mag is just that good. It is just good that it is worth breaking yourself of the habit.
The reason I like drop mag so much is that it completely alleviates slow reload on a weapon just for that downside of losing the ammunition currently in the mag. So, in a sense, it's a miniature always on outlaw. If you get drop mag to roll on a weapon, you do not need outlaw. You can just totally forgo outlaw and get another more useful perk in its place. That's why I love drop mag.
Right.
So yeah, the as I said, it's a habit that you need to. I say you need to break yourself of as if it's a bad thing. It's not that bad of a thing, but it's something worth paying attention to and trying to work on.
Well, for me, one of the reasons why I've always been a reload when you can is because there's just been so many times that I've been in a situation where it's life or death, right? You're shooting something and you have to reload, and that is what ends up killing you because you didn't have that last shot. Whereas if maybe you had thought to reload before you started shooting, you would have made it out of that situation alive.
Yeah, the other thing that I want to say in drop mag's defense right now is that primary ammunition, white ammunition, is not that hard to come by right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Right. Now, I don't know if we're going to run into a Nightfall in which there is a modifier where what's the modifier right now that makes ammunition more scarce? I think it's famine or something to that. Or maybe I'm getting mixed up with Halo terms. Yeah, anyway, so I think there's a modifier that's floated around before that reduces the drop rate of ammunition. In that scenario, if you're really squandering ammunition via drop mag, then that could really hurt you. But I think in general play right now, ammunition is like primary white box ammunition is easy to come by. So drop mag isn't hurting you that much, even if you're a compulsive reloader.
Like me.
Yeah. Other than that, I kind of ping between 10 paces and long shadow right now. I was using Frigid Jackal a bunch towards the end of year one. This has kind of filled its place for me. I get a nice medium zoom scope. I can go to a short zoom if I want it. Tac mag I like a lot as a magazine. A little bit, like maybe one or two more rounds of ammunition and pretty good reload speed for what it is. Snapshot, I like it a lot in Crucible. Triple tap, not ideal for Crucible, but for when I'm using this thing in PvE DPS, it's fantastic. If I could get this with Snapshot and Quick Draw, this would be my PvP sniper hands down. I would love it.
Right.
But it's just kind of the best that I have at the moment. Other than that, pulse rifles are my baby. I'm just running a right side of wrong right now. This is one of those 4-round burst aggressive burst pulses that came in with this expansion. I'm not running drop mag on this because the reload on this weapon is fast enough, and I'm finding the steady rounds to be a little bit more useful because I'm treating this as kind of a generalist weapon. That's kind of what this role is between hipfire grip and high impact reserves. I've got a pretty good damage perk. I've got a good utility perk in hipfire grip, and the steady rounds makes it just that little bit more consistent at the typical pulse rifle mid range. So this is just kind of my do everything rifle at this point. Nothing really fancy going on there. I threw a radar tuner on it because I've been running it in Crucible.
And
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of these instances where it depends on what your play style is. There's just even though knowing sort of what the meta is and what things are good and what you should always be looking for is a good thing to have in your back pocket. You also have to be aware of what your personal play style is, what you're wanting to get from a certain weapon, because while drop mag may be the best might be that meta type perk in a situation like what you said where you're using it as a generalist, that I think it was accurized rounds.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I don't want to keep
better.
Obviously, I don't want to keep using this thing in perpetuity. What I really want to do is get a god roll or a near god roll of Go Figure or Right Side of Wrong that has that crazy, insane range, and just use that as a pseudo scout, if that makes sense. But for now, this is the best I've got, and I'm just making do with it. That being said, in PvP, that aggressive burst archetype is fantastic, and it's very forgiving. Because right now it can 2-burst Guardians, because it's that 4-round burst. You don't need to land all headshots with it either. I think in that massive breakdown spreadsheet that we talked about at the beginning of this whole thing, the way the damage calculation works out is that in order to kill the optimal number of shots you need to kill a Guardian with this archetype is, I think, 6 crit, so 6 headshots and 2 body shots.
Whoa.
Whereas I think just about anything else, I think there's a few exceptions in there, but just about everything else is requiring you to hit all crits or maybe like all crits in one body. This is very forgiving. It's 2 bursts. It's a really good time to kill compared to anything else. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a spreadsheet and the view is kind of garbage, but pulse rifles. Yeah, 0.73 optimal compared to high impacts and Redrix, which are killing in 0.67 of a second. For comparison, rapid fire pulses like Lincoln Green from year 1 are 0.8 of a second. 0.73 is looking and feeling really good right now. Now, obviously, if you're hitting all body shots, the 0.16 seconds for all body shots in Crucible is pretty bad. It's not worst in class, but it's up there. So it's still skill based, but I kind of like that. It rewards me for being accurate. It's a pulse rifle anyway. You're probably going to be hitting headshots. But like I said, generalist. This is just a generalist role. I really like the archetype, which is why I've stuck with it. So I'm just looking for that god roll now.
So we mentioned a lot of God. One thing that's done in the Destiny community is this idea of a quote unquote god roll. Is that something that is different for everybody, or is that something that is very much a set thing? Like,
so
this is a god roll. Like,
I'll preface this by
saying, there is a list, or there will be a list of, hey, these are the guns that you 100% want.
So I'll preface this by saying that I'm something of an outsider coming in.
Yeah, you like pulse rifles.
Yeah, yes. I did not play Destiny 1 until probably 2 months before Destiny 2 released. I just went back and played it for the story. I didn't play Destiny 1 because it wasn't on the PC.
Right.
So I've had to pick up a lot of this stuff on the fly. My rough understanding has been that the term god roll is this, for any individual weapon, this sort of commonly accepted perk or set of perks, or maybe 1 or 2 of those perks might change in and out depending on meta shifts or personal preference. For example, I think if I can't remember what the exact combination is for Better Devils. I know that one of the things that a lot of people are looking for in a hand cannon and that is being bandied around as a god roll, and I'm inclined to agree with them, is
Outlaw kill clip.
Outlaw Kill Clip or Outlaw Rampage on a hand cannon, probably on an adaptive like Better Devils. Yeah, Outlaw. So at that point, anyone who used Old Fashioned in Destiny 1, not Destiny 1, in year 1 of Destiny 2, anybody who used Old Fashioned is familiar with it. It's an adaptive hand cannon with drop mag and kill clip. If you could get a Better Devils, I think a lot of people are looking for example, a Better Devils with Outlaw and kill clip, because at that point, it's just a straight up better
Better Devils.
Yeah, well, the Better Devils, better Old Fashioned. Hey, look, we actually have unique Better Devils now. Who would have thought? I would still argue that maybe you could min-max certain elements of this. So even if you get this god roll of Better Devils or near god roll, maybe the near god roll, which, for argument's sake, let's say this is a Better Devils that has drop mag as an always-on outlaw, and you're used to that, and kill clip, which you were looking for anyway, and as rangefinder. So you're aiming down sights, and you've got a range boost on a hand cannon. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though
So,
I feel like Better Devils has always been a pretty decent range weapon anyways, so I feel like giving even more range.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I would love to have a maxed out range Uriel's Gift. I remember that my first masterworked Uriel's Gift that dropped was a range perk, and I was just, it's one of those things that you kind of you move away from the meta because new metas come out, but you go back to an old meta and you're like, why did I ever stop using this gun? This is amazing.
Well, I had that moment with Lincoln Green between when I used it through like all of season 1 and part of season 2, and then I started trying different things, and then I started using Lincoln Green again at the end of year 1, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, I love it. Yeah, so that happened. But yeah, the like the point we were on, I understand the term god roll. In most cases, I think what is accepted as a god roll is accurate. There are, of course, going to be people who get a weapon and get really excited about it or are emotionally invested in it for some reason and fall into the trap of describing what they got or like what they like as a god roll. Right. And I'm hesitant to point any finger at circumstances in which that happens, but the point is that it can happen, and most of these discussions about individual roles you need to preface with the individual on a case-by-case basis as to what exactly it is that they are trying to do or build or achieve in the game. In general, I think that going back to what I just said, I think that there are generalist god roles that are very, very, very good, or actually are god rolls, like the Better Devils example. But that's not to say that there isn't room to tweak it a little bit here or there, like subbing out Outlaw for drop mag and putting Rangefinder in Outlaw's place.
Right. Exactly. So now, I guess, for god rolls and those things, we often talk about if you pull up any of the weapons, it seems like the ones to look for are those final 2 set perks. Those are the perks that are going to be your quote-unquote god roll things.
Yeah, those
Whereas the other selectable back and forth, like, yes, you can get a better set of selectable perks, but those really are more of just fine-tuning something versus, actively looking for a selectable perk that...
Right.
So It seems to me that to make this a bit more easy for the filthy, the casuals or filthy casuals to
Filthy casual peasants, how dare you?
more palatable.
Don't even
for
touch
us,
me. Don't even look at me. That's sorry. Go on.
for more palatable for those of us who are a bit more on the casual side, who aren't big in, or whose forte is not these guns and the different. There's just so many options. Is just focus on those two set perks. And then once you get those two set perks as something that is good, then use the other ones as fine tuning.
Yes. Yeah, so
Fine tuning based upon your preference.
You hit the nail on the head. The set perks are what are going to make or break by and large, make or break what it is you're trying to do with that. Make or break what it is you're trying to do with that weapon. Like if you're going for that outlaw and kill clip combination, like I just want to kill things and have kill clip active and be doing bonus damage as often as humanly possible. Cool. You know, like what you have in mind, you have the play style, you know you want to do, like, go forth and dominate. The
selectable perks.
The other,
whatever
yes,
they're called.
the other
That's what I'm calling.
yeah, the selectable perks like your magazine perk, like your sight perk or barrel perk, if that's what you get, are going to help out the stat line of your weapon in certain places, or help out the reload, or help it with certain other soft things, for lack of a better term. But it's not really going to define the build. Let's take an example here. Actually, I don't know if I got. Yeah, so here's a good example. I've got a misfit roll with a choice of two sights that don't matter, appended mag or armor piercing rounds, quick draw, and moving target as my set perks. It's fine. I haven't used this in Crucible yet, but quick draw and moving target is something that I would look for on a sniper rifle for sure. On an auto, I don't know. I need to mess with it a little bit. The thing that I would point out is that if I manage to get Dragonfly on this, let's say in place of quick draw, Dragonfly being analogous to Firefly from Destiny 1, armor piercing rounds do that bonus damage to combatant shields and overpenetrate targets. I have it on a rapid fire auto rifle. I get AP rounds. And what's the element on this? Arc? I believe it's arc. I'm an idiot. It's down here. So I had a Kibu AR3, I think it is, from Warmind, and that I believe is fixed with Dragonfly and armor piercing rounds is one of the choices. So I needed a good arc auto rifle, so I just spec'd it for arc, and I took that into just about any strike that had lots of Hive Knights, because it's like, okay, I have this energy auto rifle with armor piercing rounds. I can fight at most ranges with it without issue, because that's a 450 RPM auto. This is a 720, but for the sake of example, and just be a shield melter. And when I do kill something, I'm gonna try to proc that Dragonfly and just splash anything around it. So it's not to say that armor piercing rounds made what I was doing with that weapon, but it really, really helped out.
Very, very good. All right.
But yeah, I would point out as well that in this magazine column, you will occasionally see, you will continue to see stuff like ricochet rounds or accurized rounds or high caliber rounds. I'm not big on a lot of magazine perks. I think most of them don't really do enough for you. Like appended mag only gave me 6 rounds here. That's nice, but it's not a lot where I'm doing that extra shield damage. Yeah, where I'm doing that extra damage and over-penetrating with AP rounds. So what does this really do for me? Especially on a weapon where the reload is pretty quick anyway.
Right.
If I got high cals on this, that could be pretty neat. I don't really know how high cals are doing in Crucible right now. I think the original year 1 testing that guys like Fallout Plays did was showing that weapons with higher rates of fire were generally more useful with high cal rounds in PvP. I don't know if any meaningful PvE testing was ever done in that regard, but I kind of feel like high cal rounds is more useful on higher rate of fire weapons anyway for staggering ads. Like you've had those moments where you've got something with where we've got a knight charging you or a minotaur and you like manage to you're just firing at him and it staggers him, and that happens a little more often with high cal rounds. I don't know how the math works in that, if it's just a % chance per round to stagger the enemy or if it's like a factor of their HP. But I trying to milk every good chance out of RNGesus that I possibly can, I tend to favor high cal rounds on higher rate of fire weapons, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Midnight Coup is very nice in the new TTK shift. Once they fix HC recoil, it will be better.
Yeah, thanks GTS. That's one thing that's really screwing us on PC right now. The hand cannon recoil apparently got bugged. There is a way. I believe the way to fix it is if you just hit like the escape button twice or something. Once you're in like whatever the content is, like a PvP match or a Nightfall or something. But it's still really annoying that we have to do that, right?
If you hit all 3 heads, you'll outduel 140s every time. Well, if there's any more questions, or Lancer, is there anything else that you would like to add to as final thoughts, or does chat have any more questions, things that they want to bring up?
Oh yeah,
having talk about.
If you got questions, keep them coming.
Anyone?
But yeah, illustrating that point about grenade launchers earlier, what I'm running in my power slot right now, I could be running. I did infuse Sleeper up to 500 just for Gambit.
I still don't have
I infused
Sleeper.
I infused my Braytech Osprey up to 500 as well because cluster bomb rockets. Who'd have thought they're still good? But the grenade launcher I'm running is spike grenades, like we talked about earlier. Threat detector. I don't know if I'm getting any benefit out of it. That's just the best I've got right now. And Rampage, which again, tier 1, I like it. So yeah.
Okay, GTS wants to know if there are any new energy weapons that are must-haves.
I don't know if there's anything that is a must-have per se. However, I'm just gonna skim these sheets real quick. I'd say Misfit is definitely worth looking for in the, and actually let me just increase the magnification of this so I don't make all of you squint at your screens. I'd say Misfit is worth looking for in the auto rifles. That is a 720 energy slot. So think of it as filling the same role that Hollow Earth, Perseverance, Valakadon used to. Still very good PvE boss DPS.
So would you recommend Misfit over Valakadon or Valakadon, whatever you guys call it?
I think Hollow Earth is the best in that category because I think Zen Moment, all of those have what I like to call stability set perks. So stuff like Under Pressure, Dynamic Sway Reduction, Zen Moment. I think because those are fixed roles, Hollow Earth, if I recall correctly, has Zen Moment, and I think that gives you the most bang for your buck as far as the stability perks go. Under Pressure doesn't kick in until, I think, like, the latter half of the magazine, or even if it kicks in at the top of the magazine, it's this incremental gain as you reduce the magazine. Dynamic Sway Reduction, again, if I recall correctly, my memory may be fuzzy, gives you more stability the longer you hold the trigger down, and if you release that, you lose the benefit.
Right.
Tap the trigger just gives you that initial burst of stability, and then if you're firing on full auto, it just goes away. Zen Moment, once you start hitting, like if you hit that first shot and then the second shot, you're pretty much just on target the entire time from that point.
So boss DPS, if you are choosing to use it as a boss DPS, or like if you're in Gambit trying to get rid of the blockers, as long as you're, lined in,
So
something that has a higher, orange bars or yellow bars, it seems like that's something that's better.
Well, you also need to keep in mind what is effective against players in Gambit because you do have the invasion to contend with.
Right.
The reason why I'm recommending Misfit is because you have random rolls. So you have these 720 RPM autos, which have been proven to be very good in endgame content before. And now we have one that has random rolls. That I think is worth chasing because you can get some crazy little builds around it. As far as anything else that is necessary to have, and GTS was specifically asking about energy weapons, yeah?
Yeah, he was asking if there are any energy weapons that are a must-have
Okay.
to look for.
In the hand cannon category, if you like so one thing to keep in mind here is that we have these weapon archetypes like I talked about before. Not all of them are not all of them have had an energy counterpart. So some of them tend to be weighted more towards, oh yeah, there's a lot of kinetic kinetic aggressive hand cannons, but up until this expansion there were 0 aggressive, so high impact energy hand cannons. We finally have one in the form of Thin Line. So that has random rolls. It's an aggressive energy hand cannon. If you like aggressive energy hand cannons, it's worth keeping an eye out for that one. I am specifically looking for a roll of this with opening shot and quick draw so that I can use that as a finisher in PvP. But that's what I'm building around there. I don't know if I would call this a must-have, but it is unique in the sense that we haven't had an energy hand cannon in this archetype yet, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's see. UC chum. Okay, so I guess collections will tell you if the year 1 weapon can get a random roll.
Yes, I believe there's a blurb in the actual weapons panel that it'll display that'll tell you whether it can random roll or not. And I think most of the year 2 stuff we can't retrieve from collections yet, if I'm understanding correctly.
There's some that you can, but if I'm reading that information correctly, it says that random perks will not redrop. So I think if you were to shard something, then you would potentially be able to pick it up, but it would be missing those extra perks.
Okay.
So now I may not be understanding it right. I haven't tested the theory, but to my understanding, that is what it is. Now, let's see. Sidebar, since you were on sidearms, what is the status of sidearms in Forsaken on PC? Are they still trash?
I want to like sidearms a lot.
So do I.
They have good time to kill values in Crucible. The problem is that their range is so short in what is predominantly a mid-range and long-range meta in the Crucible. PvE is a bit of a different story. You're going to be closer to enemies in general. They're less lethal isn't exactly the right term, but so there are sidearms that you can make work in PvE. 18 Kelvins I would point to immediately because of kill clip. Vestian Dynasty has been interesting. I used that through the leveling process because I think that has kill clip and Dragonfly, and that's been kind of interesting, but it does have fixed rolls, so once you have it, don't worry about chasing a better one. So just, get it and run with it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
So so I'm assuming the fixed rolls, it will say, or it won't say on their random rolls, like you can't pick it up with the random rolls, right? Like the that initial bow that we got from the story, I think I got 3 or 4 of them dropped like in a row from various things, and they were all the same. So I'm assuming that bow is not a random roll. Is that what that little blue means on there? Is that it's
no, so the blue in this, the blue names on this spreadsheet are referring to this weapon is new in Destiny 2 Forsaken.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, a weapon that has random rolls on it will have italicized text, and actually let us jump back into the game here. Yeah, so my Long Shadow here, for example, it has this italicized text in the middle of the weapon panel under the power and ammo type saying random perks cannot be reacquired from collections.
Right, and so that is that's what I meant by I believe that you can repick them now because I have your screen up and not mine. I haven't been able to. I can't go back and check. Actually, I probably could, but I don't believe that, I mean, I believe you can pick up your 2 weapons, but it will just be missing those perks. So,
Yeah. So any weapon that is fixed is not going to have that. This weapon has random rolls text.
yep. So
I also want
Misfit,
to. I also
can
want to
pick
point
Misfit
out what
back up.
Yuliol. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, man. Just pointed out in chat. Part of the issue with sidearms in PvE right now is why would you use a sidearm when you could bring a shotgun?
Right. Right. And honestly, for me, why? Yeah, no, I mean, why would you shoulder charge if you could have a shotgun? Let's be honest. I was in a, I was just trying to test out that one-hit shoulder charge that supposedly is now the meta, and I couldn't even get close enough to anybody. I would just get shotgunned in the face. Felt bad.
Well,
man.
you're not necessarily using it in a vacuum either. The thing is, if you're going to be shoulder charging a guy, usually you're trying to take them by surprise, or you're trying to come from an approach where they can't exactly get a good shot on you. Most of the time that you just, especially with how low time to kill values are now with precision hits, if you just try to charge a guy in the face from a fair distance away, he and his teammates are just going to gun you down and kill you.
Oh yes, no, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, so the other thing to this is if you're playing a Titan and you've got a shotgun in PvP and you're going for those shoulder charges, you're not just going for the shoulder charges or the shotgun kills. It's one part of the toolkit. It's not the entire toolkit. So if you, for some reason, botch the approach on the shoulder charge or you can't get at him that way, maybe you're able to do this little like juke strafe thing or back off and bait him into you and like use the shotgun to kill him instead of shoulder charging him.
Right. Okay. All right. Very interesting. Shoulder charge still have yeah, they do have a wonky lock on. I would shoulder charge somebody and I would be like, wait, where'd he go?
Also, you shoulder charms for the means. Yes, Julio.
Yes, yes. And Mida plus MK44 stand aside / shoulder charge. He says, "Don't give me any excuses."
I actually haven't done that yet.
He had the misfortune, I guess, of being in Crucible with me when I discovered doing that I was playing with shoulder charges, and I think I had like a 0.3, anywhere between a 0.3 and a 0.7 KDA. Felt bad, man. Felt bad. I was like, maybe I should start shooting things so that I'm not Cali 0.0 again.
I'm gonna end my screen share if you don't mind.
No worries. So we'll put middle monitor back on. All right, so we're gonna do those last questions. Anybody have any final questions before we wrap up our first episode of our pilot episode, I guess, of Shard or Shred? Or no, Save It or Shard It. Haha. Anybody? Did you see that Xur was selling random rolls of the exotics?
Yes. So that was one reason why I was very excited last Friday, because he had those exotics with random rolls on them. The Vesper roll that he had, I don't remember what was on it, but actually seemed kind of neat if somebody was looking to do a
Titan.
a very standoffish mid to long range kind of play style.
Wait, which was the Vesper again? Oh, Vesper of Radius. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's just fixed,
I don't
isn't
think
it?
I have.
Oh, so that's just showing hand cannon and something else. Yeah, so the one that he was dropping was like a couple of scout rifle perks and a couple other perks, but so if you were looking to do like kind of a standoffy mid-range scout range kind of support play style, that Vesper roll actually didn't look that bad. And in fact, I'm going to go to the tower right now to see what Xur has because I've been busy all weekend and haven't been able to
we can
go to him yet.
We can go right now.
Oh yeah, I can totally go talk through that. That'd be fantastic.
Okay, I know it was so fun. Everyone,
you're gonna get kind of an unfiltered input from me as far as like how those rolls are. That Vesper, like I said, the Vesper roll last week, not bad. Actually, if it fits your playstyle, pretty good. I was not impressed by the Ashen Wake roll though. I still think Ashen Wake is not a good exotic for Titans.
Everybody was
it needs a
so
buff.
mad about Xur bringing almost exactly the same stuff, but at least he had different roles.
Yeah, true.
So the Prometheus lens is all
Yeah, because that's
same
just
class,
fixed tier
yeah.
1 stuff, right?
young Ahamkara's spine, fusion rifle loader, what's it called? Yeah. So you have Wash Dragon Teeth, Mobility Mod, Plasteel Reinforcement, Fusion Rifle Loader, Hand Cannon Loader, Impact Induction, and Shotgun Scavenger or Heavy Ammo Finder.
Yeah, sorry, I just got to him. I'm pulling this up now.
And
The
let's see, Ashen Wakes definitely were different from last week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed by that young Ahamkar's spine. The thing that I think you need to be looking for with armor right now, and again, this is personal opinion at this point, subject to change. It's a new meta. I'm still learning things. I think you need to be syncing up these armor perks as best you can across a specific weapon type or types. So, for example, right now I have 3 pulse rifle perks across my helmet, arms, and chest with ammo finders in the appropriate places, and I think a reserves perk or 2.
I haven't even started going through the. We can maybe either, depending on how frequently we would like to do this, or if we, what we want to do, we can maybe, since this week we went through the just general weapons, maybe we'll do the general armor.
Now, the one thing I'll point out in this Ahamkara Spine's favor is that you're going to be running Gunslinger anyway. You've got Impact Induction on this, so melee attack, causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown.
Right.
If it's gonna work anywhere, this is the class it's gonna work on, because Gunslinger's the only class that has trip mines. Young Ahamkar Spine buffs trip mines.
Right.
So you're playing a Gunslinger, you're gonna have a throwing knife, or at least I haven't played the middle tree yet. I don't know if it has a throwing knife or not.
I believe it's the 5 throwing knives or something.
Okay, so the top tree and the bottom tree have, at least the top tree and bottom tree have throwing knives, and I believe the middle one is then as well then. But if you're doing damage with melee attacks, you're reducing your grenade cooldown. Impact Induction, from my testing with the Ashen Wake roll last week, doesn't refund that much energy. Like it was like barely a sliver of grenade recharge. But like I said, if you're going to try to make that work, this is the class to do it on, because you're going to be throwing more than... If you're playing the bottom tree especially, the precision one of Gunslinger, you're probably going to be throwing multiple knives.
Right.
Same thing with that middle tree, because you said it had 5 knives or something like that.
I believe. I haven't... that's going to be the last one that I open up. So, because I do not run Gunslinger, because you have to be able to accurately aim with a golden gun, and we all know how well Kara aims on the first shot. Does not do...
Yeah.
No,
so, like I
let's
said, if you're going to try to make this perk work, this is the class to do it on. I'm not really a fan of it, though. And the fact that it doesn't have any synced up weapon perks here, it's Fusion Rifle or Hand Cannon Loader in the center column. Okay. And then Shotgun Scavenger in the set column, which maybe you're just giving up to have Heavy Ammo Finder. That's fine. But, so... At this point, you're pretty much wholly discarding Shotgun Scavenger as a perk. Heavy Ammo Finder, good. I don't know if it's doing that much as an effect. And so then you're looking at this 3-pick of a special weapon, a primary, or trying desperately to make the throwing knife giving grenade cooldown back thing work. Realistically, you're probably just using a hand cannon anyway. It's not bad. I don't think this role is that good.
Right.
The Nezrak Sin one is kind of in the same boat. It's a little bit better off, though, because you've got hands-on there, so you're getting super energy back from melee kills. And if you're going to be running a Devour Lock, okay, this is really good for you, but I don't think you're going to be getting... I haven't tested hands-on yet, but I don't think it's going to be giving you that much more energy from the melee kills. But then again, you're a Devour Lock, you're probably punching things.
Melee. Yeah,
you're probably punching things to proc Devour anyway. Yeah, not bad, not great. I don't know if heavy ammo finder is giving that much of an effect
Yeah,
right now with just
yeah.
one.
We'll
but
be able to tell probably during the
But if your choice is a year one Nezarec Sin with no perks, or this Nezarec Sin with perks, oh my god, yeah, buy this. Sure. Like, why not? Go for it. Have fun.
Well, yeah, I think everybody is pretty much going for things just as because I mean we have 500 vault spot. Why not? You know,
Yeah,
who
and
knows?
by all
Maybe
means,
that's
guys,
going to be the next. Maybe this is going to be the next. What's it called? Galahorn. I don't know.
Yeah, and by all means, feel free. Like, do not feel obligated to take advice from me or from anyone regarding stuff. Like, feel free to just say, "I just want to have fun with this. I don't want to listen to what you're saying." That's fine.
I mean, that's
go for it.
90% of what I do.
However, what I would say in that regard is do not misrepresent what you are doing for fun as being optimal.
Yeah.
That's the thing to remember.
Yeah, and that's the thing about me and truth is that it feels good. It feels like it's a good weapon, but do I actually know what I'm talking about? Is there something that is actually better than what I'm feeling? I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
yeah, that's okay. There's my Zur rant. I think this Ashen Wake roll is still. I mean, okay, sure. If you're using Ashen Wake and you still have year one Ashen Wake and you want Ashen Wake with perks, you could buy this Ashen Wake. But otherwise, oh my god, why are you buying Ashen Wake?
yeah,
It's not a good exotic. Just put it away. Put a different exotic on. Just
there's just
it's
like
time
if you're
to
gonna
let go.
It's like if you're going, there's just it's not bad. It's just that there are better arms.
There's better exotics that you could be running as a
You
Titan.
could be running the melee ones. That if people melee you, they get killed or whatever.
ACDC gauntlets
yes,
have been pretty fun
ACDO.
in ACDO. Have been pretty fun in Crucible so far. I still whip those out every once in a while. But I think what are the meta Titan perks right now? I think Mask of the Quiet One, Syntheseps, and well, really Syntheseps for the super bonus damage. I've been running Mask of the Quiet One because I like the health regen. Am I missing something? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway. I feel like I'm missing something. I know that I have not gotten any exotics to drop from Forsaken yet. I know a lot of people are really liking that Titan one they showed off in the, they didn't show it off in the ARMS trailer, but they showed it off in a bunch of promotional material. It looks kind of like this, like, Russian or, like, Eastern European, like, Boyer's kind of helmet with this weird eye thing going on, and apparently that's really good in Crucible right now. Yeah. The PvE stuff, I'm kind of pointing to Mask of the Quiet One and Syntheseps right now as go-tos. Stand-asides might have some usefulness. I don't know, but yeah, I don't see a reason to run Ashen Wake.
So
Like, why would you have one bad grenade when you could run Armamentarium and have two good grenades?
or what's it called? With my Titan, the face one, the face arc. What is it? Somebody help me out in chat. Mask. Yes, that mask thing that gives you for shoulder charges. It recharges your arc grenade.
Oh, indestructible Skull Fort?
Yes.
Yeah,
Insurmountable
yes.
skull forts.
Oh my god, I knew I was forgetting one. How did I forget about Skull Fort? Probably because I never play Arc. Probably because I never play an Arc Titan. Yes, Skull Fort is very, very good right now.
Yeah. So.
But yeah.
All right. Insurmountable. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Oh my
chat.
god, I'm actually embarrassed about that one. I'm sorry, guys. I totally forgot that existed.
Yeah, that's my favorite, and I think that's at least in terms of what I enjoy, like for exotics. You know, some exotics are great, but some exotics, you know, what's going to be better, right? So is it really worth giving up your exotic slot for whatever it is that you're running?
Mm-hmm.
So, like Lucky Pants, right? Precision hits, load around, bestowed hand cannons.
Yeah, it's like,
There's-
sure, that's great.
That's
but,
great, but there's just why.
But if you're running a gunslinger, what about, like, why are you choosing this over,
If you're running if you're
over
doing,
Nighthawk?
if you're doing if you're doing a PvE where there's lots of trash mobs and you're running a Night Stalker, why aren't you running Orpheus Rigs?
And I'm in that regard, I'm very happy that Orpheus Rigs got the nerf that it did. I'm kind of sad that I can't run Rig Night Stalker and just print orbs for days like it's currency.
Well,
But
but
it was such a meta warping thing for that entire class that it was like, if you're playing a Night Stalker, you're running Orpheus Rigs or you're wrong. And
Well,
that's
yeah.
just, and that is it was that good.
Well,
And it was stifling any sort of opportunity for innovation or for other builds of
for
the
other
class.
playstyles. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and I agree. You know, you want to be able to have a bunch of different options of things you can do so that you can tailor things to what your individual playstyle is. Because if you're having to run meta because there is literally nothing else that you can run, it no longer becomes fun.
And Rudy made a very good point in chat. Some exotics are relatively useless, and it has always been that way. I've certainly heard the stories from people who have played D1. I get that there are some exotics that are just not really ever going to see the light of day.
And then
that-
sometimes they randomly get a buff, and you've got everybody running tractor cannon and crucible.
Right.
So-
Remember what a bear everybody was on Crimson when it first came out with Curse of Osiris?
Oh god, it was awful. And for some reason, Aiden really wanted
that's the
it.
thing. I don't think it was that bad. Like yes, the burst delay was that bad. Yes, in PvP it was not particularly useful. Why would you not just bring a pulse rifle, or why would you not just bring a hand cannon? It was
Right.
this middle ground that didn't do either thing particularly well. But in Nightfalls, if you were really cranking that power handicap up and you were having a little bit of trouble with survivability or not being at a good health total at any given time to continue fighting, Crimson was still really good. And then they made it better. And then they made it better again. I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, thank you, Bungo, but wow, this is whew, this is good. Like, this is really good.
Right.
But yeah, so like every now and so to illustrate that point, every now and then there's just a dud exotic, and then maybe out of nowhere Bungie's gonna go, nah, we want to really see how this is gonna work, and we're gonna buff it. It's like, okay, yeah,
God,
now we're
it's
gonna
so
play
much
with this a bit.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally really enjoyed when they and you know what, that's what I really enjoy, what they kind of changed in a little bit of Warmind and absolutely with Forsaken, is that I think they really listened to the community saying, stop nerfing, start buffing. You know, we want to feel powerful. We're guardians, you know. We want to feel like we are doing damage. Please stop nerfing and stop
So-
nerfing something that's really good and start buffing other things so that we
So
have
devil's
options.
advocate to that though, how much room was there for nerfing with where Destiny 2 started out in year 1? Think about it. With
yeah,
how
no,
dissatisfied the community was and everything, there really was like no going down was not an option because
Well-
it would have just made the community like even less
they
pleased than they
did.
already were.
But they didn't they?
Did they?
I feel like I remember them, you know, in the first, you know, in year 1, season 1, they only did slight nerfs, but they were nerfs nonetheless. They
Okay, yes,
were
yes,
nerfs.
you are right in that regard when it was still the dev team running the shop, because they did give some attention. If I recall correctly, they gave some nerfs to the 450 autos and to
Right,
Oh,
but
God,
then,
something
and
else.
that's I think the problem that people had was, even though it was only a slight nerf,
It was still a nerf, yeah.
It was a nerf nonetheless, and it made people.
in a sandbox that people already were not finding enjoyable by and large.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you know what? You're having a lot of fun with this one meta weapon. Instead of giving you, you know, 20 more meta 20 meta weapons to have fun with, we're going to take away the one thing that you enjoy, and
Well,
now
there was
you'll be using, you know, instead of there being one fun 20 shitty, now you have 21 shitty weapons.
Oh yeah, they also turned shoulder charges much slower. Again, thank you, Yuliel. And that felt pretty bad.
Hashtag nerf the freaking Titans, guys.
But yeah,
as
then
a hunter main, I'm still salty about that.
But yes, to your point about buffing things and hearing that community feedback, all hail the live team guys. I think they're doing a fantastic job so far, especially with pulling off. I think it was Skill Up who called it the 5 mile turn. In that video where with how bad things were in D2 year 1 relative to the community's expectations, and how the live team has come in and steered the world's largest tanker ship analogy, as it were, of Destiny 2 in a 5 mile turnaround to take it back in that direction that people expected from D1 year 3.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that they have done a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
I feel good.
I'm quite enjoying this right now. I really like all of the potential that I have now for building and messing with various different aspects of my gear and my class and so forth.
You want to know what I don't like? I don't like the director. They need to bring back the old director so I can see what I'm doing.
Yes. So this is one thing because I've noticed, because I picked D1 up again, rebuilt my current Titan in D1, and have been completing the story in there again just to see how things used to be again. The tracking of triumphs and bounties and things that you are actively working on in D2 at present feels very subpar compared to where it was at in D1.
Like, I don't even know where the flashpoint is. I don't want to have to click on every single planet.
Have you completed it?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, but yeah, so there's also some issues right now with that, with the icons that they have for the individual content types. And this is a complaint that I've had, especially like relevant to new players coming into Destiny 2. Bungie does a pretty not good job of explaining game mechanics and functionality, especially these menus and different aspects of how various weapons work within the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
because I don't know if I have ever seen a legend anywhere for what these different gold icons are next to each planet. Like, yes, you are going to get used to the fact that
daily and a weekly, I guess?
that this is a daily and this is a weekly, or that there's a flashpoint here or something like that. But it has never been I don't think it has been explained to a new player coming in at any point. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I guess weekly. Yeah. So I don't like having to go on every single. I miss my sidebar. I miss my sidebar.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, but all right. If we're pretty done, I think we'll wrap it up. Unless last call for alcohol. I mean, questions, guys. Anybody have any final questions? Otherwise, we're probably going to wrap up this episode, our pilot test run of seeing, Anyways.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I'm gonna go hang out in the bar in the Ferris Core Discord afterwards and just continue drinking.
Oh, continue. So you already started. Okay, that's cool.
Yes, I'm halfway through a bottle of New Belgium Abbey Belgian style double at the moment. That's quite good.
You said bottle, and I was like, oh God, has he been drinking scotch or something?
No.
Do I think
That'll
Brother
kill me.
Vance is a? I caught myself on that one. I caught myself. So, all right, guys. Lancer.
The answer is yes. I think he wants it from Daddy Osiris.
Oh my goodness, guys! This is a family-friendly stream.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, but seriously, it is. But anyways,
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so thank you, Lancer, very much. I really appreciate you coming out and doing this little stream with me, and I would love to have you back again sometime. And
not a problem. I just hope it was useful to somebody in some fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was fun, and
I have spent an unreasonable amount of time looking at spreadsheets, so if I can impart any sort of knowledge or guidance or something useful to somebody, then it's worth it.
Good. All right, everybody. Again, Lancer, thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening and enjoy your drinks.
Yeah, have a good evening, chat. Stay awesome.
All right, bye-bye.